This is the United States of America. And you might already know this, but the US has one of the most iconic flags in the world. A star for each state, 13 stripes representing the 13 original colonies, and a brilliant red, white, and blue. A good flag represents something. It can unite a people, tie a society together, give someone a reason to fight for it, to stand up for it, conjure up emotions, feelings, ideals. As I said, a good flag unites. And it is also why every single country in the world has a flag. It might surprise some people to know that every single state has a flag, as does every single county, and almost every single town or city in the United States. That's thousands of flags representing someone or something. So what makes up a good flag? Well, the North American Vexillological Association has 5 different rules on their guidelines for a good flag. Number 1. Keep it simple. A flag should be so simple that a child can draw it from memory. Number 2. Use meaningful symbolism. A flag's images, colors, or patterns should relate to what it symbolizes. Number 3. Use 2 or 3 basic colors to limit the number of colors on the flag. Use colors that contrast well and come from a standard color set. 4. No lettering or seals. Never use any type of writing or any kind of organizational seal on a flag. And number 5. Be distinctive or be related. Avoid duplications of other flags, but use similarities to show connections if warranted. So with that in mind, I thought we'd take a peek at some cities across the United States and check out their flags. We could spend hours on regional flags, state flags, county flags, even sports flags, but city flags, that isn't talked about as much, so let's do it. This is Flags of American Cities. As beautiful as Boston, Massachusetts may be with its waterfront location and tight, compact streets, its flag leaves a lot to be desired, and that's unfortunately the case with most of the Northeast. A lot of the flags are just seals with a colored background, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing despite what the rules say. Sometimes I believe it's warranted and completely okay. Boston's flag clearly shows a Boston from its past. A light blue flag with a city seal in the middle, a seal that was created in 1823. Along the outside edges, we see the motto of the city in Latin, which says, "God be with us as he was with our fathers." Now, unfortunately for this flag, and pretty much any other flag with a seal in the center and a background color, it is given the honor by the North American Vexillological Association as a seal on a bedsheet. And in case you're wondering, the North American Vexillological Association does have their own flag, and it looks like this.
Yeah, not bad.
They've been around since 1967, so maybe they have the right to be snooty about flags. Let's check out some other flags in North America, like this one from Buffalo, New York, which actually looks quite good. This to me is an example of a city seal working perfectly. Here's the actual city seal. In the center, it contains a lighthouse and a boat, which is the perfect symbolism since the city is located on Lake Erie. And below we see a barge, which represents the Erie Canal. Perfect symbolism. Then around the seal, they remove the words. And voila, a perfect flag. The lightning bolts represent an energy for the city of Buffalo, and the 13 stars around it signify New York State's status as one of the 13 original colonies. I think Buffalo's a great example of a flag that doesn't follow all the rules, but still looks great in the end. The next flag we're going to check out is in Montpelier, Vermont, the smallest capital city in the United States. And here's their flag. Is what I would be saying if that was still their flag, because in 2017, they had a flag designing contest, and they voted for this to become the new flag. It was created by Chet Lauro of Maryland. Personally, I kind of wanted this flag right here to win. In all seriousness, it's a nice design too. It's got the Capitol Dome, and you got the blue representing the water and the green representing the green hills of Vermont. Handmade, texture, it's nice. But back to the real flag, the winner. To me, the stars are very reminiscent to the stars on the European Union flag, but the creator Lauro says it represents the 14 counties of Vermont, as well as representing Vermont being the 14th state to join the Union. The gold stars are also circular to represent the golden dome of the Vermont Capitol building. All very good symbolism, especially for a capital city, where you're supposed to unite people in your entire state. Lastly, the green hills represent the Green Mountains in Vermont, as well as being a callback to the previous flag. Overall, the new flag is a much prettier design and will represent the people of Vermont's capital city well. For being America's largest and most well-known city, I don't think a lot of people know what New York City's flag looks like. And there it is. Not really recognizable compared to other American city flags, and it doesn't really stand out in any way. Pretty much everything about this flag is related to the Dutch, since New York used to be New Amsterdam. The colors are symbolic of the Dutch flag. William I, Prince of Orange, flew this flag, with the blue part facing closest to the flagpole. On the center seal, we immediately see a bald eagle, representing the United States of America. From our viewpoint, on the right of the eagle is a Native American, on the left, a Dutch seaman. At the very center of the seal, we see two beavers representing the Dutch West India Company, which was the first company in New York. There's also a windmill, which is Dutch. The Latin on the bottom simply reads, Seal of the City of New York. Officially, the city government of New York doesn't want that Latin to be on their seal, but they continue to keep it there anyways. Every single borough in New York City also has its own flag, but we don't have time to go through that, so let's jump on down to our next city and get a move on. America's capital city has one of the more recognizable city flags in the United States. It has 3 red stars and 2 red stripes over a white background. The design was based on the coat of arms of George Washington's great-great-great-grandfather, Lawrence Washington, of Northamptonshire, England, in 1592. George Washington used this coat of arms privately while he lived in Mount Vernon. The flag we see today was adopted in 1938, after it was commissioned by an act of Congress. There were several different submissions, and all those flags were denied by the Commission of the Fine Arts, until finally in 1938 a flag was chosen. The citizenry of Washington, D.C. were none too pleased because they had no say on what flag was chosen. It was all done through the Commission of the Arts. Once again, a fine example of taxation without representation for Washington citizens. Richmond, Virginia's flag was adopted in 1993, and it has quite the patriotic color scheme. Front and center we have a man working on a James River bateau. It is a shallow draft river craft. It was used primarily in the 1700s up until about the 1840s for transporting tobacco and cargo through the James River and its tributaries throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. But back to the flag, because we have the guy there, he's working his way through the James River, which goes right by Richmond. Then we got the 9 stars around him, which represent the 9 states that were once part of Virginia's territory. Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana. The blue on the flag represents the color of the James River, while the red bars on the bottom represent the red clay that's abundant in the state. Exciting, and I think, a nice looking flag. And speaking of nice-looking flags, the capital city of South Carolina, Columbia, has a really nice new flag. In February 2020, they tossed out the old city flag and made this new one official. Starting in 2017, the city made a call to everyone that they wanted a new flag, and with over 800 submissions, it took years. But what does this new flag even mean? I think it's a great design, but I don't know if anybody would associate this with Columbia, South Carolina, let alone even locals knowing what it means. The only person who said anything so far is the mayor, Steve Benjamin, and even then, it was only his assumptions of what he thought this flag meant. Quote, "It speaks to believe not only who we are, but what we hope to be as a city. It symbolizes the rich land that exists at the corner of the connection of the Saluda and the Broad Rivers, which form the Congaree and laid the foundation for this city. The star represents not only being the capital, but I think it references, in a positive way, the resilience of this place. In a way that's positive, it harkens back to our past." End quote. Okay, so that was all very vague. The star might represent being the capital city of South Carolina, while the 3 blue lines represent 3 different rivers. I can get behind that, but if you're going to release a new flag, it'd be best to have the flag creator say what the flag means. Next flag. Jacksonville, Florida's largest city by population. They had this flag. And then in 1975, they decided that flag looked outdated, and they had a design contest, and by 1976, they had themselves a new flag. This one, to be exact. And right away, you can see a flag sin lettering on the flag. But overall, it's okay, considering how old it is as well. The brown silhouette is actually the 7th President of the United States, Andrew Jackson. Even more important since there's a bronze statue of Andrew Jackson in the center of downtown Jacksonville. Though the longevity of the statue may be in question because it is constantly being vandalized by political activists. Behind Andrew Jackson are the rays of sunshine, representing a bright future for the city of Jacksonville and, Sunshine, Florida. At the very center of the flag, we have a map of Duval County, which is where Jacksonville is located. You can also see the St. Johns River as it runs through the county. And then the orange on the flag is used for the Sunshine State, Florida, oranges, citrus. Then also some sources say that the orange represents the Mandarin neighborhood of Jacksonville, but that one's kind of iffy. Well, there you go. I think it's an okay flag. I like the colors. Maybe get rid of the wording and everything would be okay. Actually, what if we got rid of the map and inflated Andrew Jackson? Yeah, there we go. That looks okay. According to the North American Vexillological Association, this was the second best flag in Florida. I mean, it's not bad, but second best? Really? There aren't others that could dethrone this for second place? Well, let's see if we can, put a damper on their ratings. Oof. Let's just be clear, this is not one of the flags competing for top flag in Florida. Tampa. Okay, you ready for this? Okay. Last warning. Here goes. So, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's begin. First of all, it's a non-quadrilateral flag, meaning it's not a perfect rectangle. The flag was adopted in 1930 and was designed by a local industrial engineer, who I'm not going to name, and to be nice, I'm going to say maybe they should have stuck to their day job. But it is commendable what they were trying to do. You got lots of different colors representing different parts of the world that moved to Tampa. For example, you can see on the left there, you got the red, white, and blue and the stars and stripes representing the U.S. You got the red and gold of Spain. You got part of the Union Jack for Britain. And you got the red, white, and green of Italy and the French tricolor. All of these were used to portray the countries that contributed to the growth of Tampa. But wait, there's more. Oh, this flag has so much more. Plus this free shirt. Because on this flag are also hidden letters. Now there's a letter F for the state of Florida, but I couldn't really find it unless this is it. There's also a letter H for Hillsborough County, in which Tampa is located in. And let us not forget the secretive letter T hidden sideways for the city of Tampa. And last but not least, we gotta talk about the seal located right in the smack center left of the flag. The bottom tells us when the city was organized in 1887, even though it was incorporated as a village first in 1849. The ship is the Mescoti, which was owned by Henry B. Plant, aka the King of Florida, who helped develop Florida, and Tampa Bay especially. Specifically, he brought the railroad down the west coast of Florida. So Tampa's flag might not be the prettiest thing in the world, but boy does it pack a punch. Thanks, Tampa, for giving us something to talk about. And the last flag we're going to talk about before in the next episode we move west is St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, Florida. Come on, stick with me now. There it is, the flag of St. Petersburg, Florida. Front and center you can see it's very colorful. We also got a pelican perched on a rock. Pelicans are indigenous to the area, and so they put a pelican on their flag. There's also 5 horizontal stripes, all of different colors. You got orange, red, green, blue, and dark blue. The red and the orange are for St. Petersburg's abundant sunshine. The green represents the land they're located on, while the blues are for the waters of Tampa Bay and the Gulf of Mexico. In 1983, the city decided that their old flag wasn't cutting it. They asked the city illustrator, that was a position, to design the new flag. And if you will, there's a little bit of evolution in the new flag from the previous flag because they kept the pelican. Long story short, the new flag was received very well by the public, and the pelican even earned mascot status for the city. So thank you, St. Petersburg, Florida. Despite your deceiving Soviet-sounding name, you've turned out with a pretty good flag. I mean, what are you going to tell me? A city called Moscow exists in the U.S. or something? And that's all we got for this episode. We looked at a bunch of flags from the East Coast of the United States, and in the next episode we're going to look at more flags as we move our way west to the West Coast of the United States. So hopefully this piqued your interest on flags. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.